Yep.
Can we all stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is April 14th, 2026. First item on our agenda is to approve an agreement with Laurel Environmental Geoscience, DPC, for soil testing. This is testing of the soil up at Claybird Lane.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mark. That was Joe?
Yep, second.
Yep.
Put it out there, loud.
Second.
My left ear is bad. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is authorization for a street closing permit. Melissa Murphy, authorization to close Warren Avenue from Lexington Avenue to 319 Warren Avenue on Saturday, May 30th, from 11:45 a.m. till midnight. A rain date is being requested for Sunday, May 31st, for the same time frame.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to ratify and authorize signature for a memorandum of agreement between the Town of Mount Pleasant and CSEA Blue Collar Bargaining Unit for Animal Control Officer, Code Enforcement Officer. The reason for this is the CSE Blue Collar has not completed its contract yet, but the Animal Control and Parking Enforcement Officer has been out in limbo because part of his job is taking care of the animals, and part of it gets a stipend for that, so he's lost out on that because there's no agreement. So this will make it so we can ratify this agreement with him in the meantime.
Make a motion for approval.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our investment report, the town's current rate of interest is 3%. Now we'll move on to business from the floor. Anybody wishes to address the board is welcome to do so at this time.
Did you sign in? Sorry? Did you sign in? I did. Thank you.
Very good.
I was just going to ask you, you find it's easy to use?
Yes, very. I think you, and I wrote it, Amanda.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's really great. Because my writing's terrible, so just scribble there. I'm actually just following up on the requests that I previously made back on the March 24th town board meeting. And that was about both concerning the proposed golf course at the end of Sleepy Hollow Road. Not about obviously the golf course and everything itself, but just the process that's been going on. And the first was the point about holding public hearings on the town code changes. And I make sort of two suggestions. One, the current process, which is to have a public hearing on the requested town board changes by the developer. And the second was to maybe integrate it with the secret process on the proposed development, because whatever, option is chosen, it's pretty clear the application can't be made because it's predicated on the fact that they have moved the development into for-profit status. They've made that pretty clear. Got a little bit feisty when somebody suggested or said what happens if it's not. So I'd kind of like to understand where you are in the process of moving that forward, and in the same vein, really presenting the pros and the cons or the implications of making such a change, both for, from 3 points of view. Obviously, the residents near the property where I am, the town, because it has great implications for the towns, or grave, if you will, and the developer, because clearly he's counting on it, So I'd like to know what the big deal is, quite frankly. Is it the houses? Does he want to open a casino? I mean, I don't know, unless he just shares what he wants. I think it's pretty simple question and didn't deserve the veiled, threat of litigation in response to an appointed planning board member. The second was the whole presentation itself. You may recall that at that meeting, the March 16th planning board meeting, that meeting was not published on an agenda. So nobody had, an indication that it was going to be presented in full and, the process that he was asking to be approved. So that really, I hope, is going to be, suggested strongly to the planning board. That has to be represented in its entirety. And, not an abbreviated version that's, again, predicated on the fact that he presented it, because it wasn't on the agenda. So I just wanted to know where you are in your thinking with that, and has action been taken on those requests?
We have not moved forward with anything on that. We've taken all your questions into consideration. We were not happy with the fact that it was not properly noticed.
Right, I
Nothing
know.
was approved, nothing was going to be approved that night. There was a miscommunication there.
Nonetheless, an omission, for the public.
So it's not like it's a done deal and there's not going to be another presentation. There will be.
Okay,
Full
that's great.
presentation.
The full presentation.
Yeah.
Because it was an hour.
So I had a question with
Sorry.
respect to the town attorney. It's my I was a member of the planning board for 10 and a half years. It's my understanding that secret process and the request for the zoning, they move simultaneously.
So, yeah, there's a secret process to begin with that has to happen. I think what happens a lot is there's a preliminary presentation, which is what they wanted to do to the planning board. I don't think anyone realized it was going to be an hour, but it was, which is fine. More information, the better. They will be,
If people are there, Darius.
I can guarantee you'll hear that presentation 50 times.
Okay,
before now.
good.
It's my guess. That's an over-under. But that presentation will be happening many times. There'll be a public hearing. The first step will be the secret process on the scope. That's the secret review. There'll also be the substantive review, which is the site plan, the special permit, and the zone change. So that's the substantive approvals. You can't do any of that without secret.
Correct.
So secret has to be done first, which will have probably, I would guess, at least a half a dozen to a dozen public hearings during the secret process, where you'll be able to comment. They'll have everything up on video. they'll
I'm
have
familiar with the
everything.
process, quite, unfortunately.
So this is at least a year and a half process, at
So,
least.
so again,
Probably
the
more.
whole application, where I'm having a big disconnect, is the whole application is predicated on nonprofit status. So until that town code is in effect, there's nothing to present.
Yeah,
I mean,
the town code can't change the law until secret is done. And the town board can't do secret segmenting it from the project. So secret has to be done first. And they're willing to take that gamble by doing it. They have to. They can't just say, I'm
Doesn't
going to
make any
change the code or
sense.
not change the code without doing secret. You have to do
Yeah,
secret.
the secret will help the planning board determine the recommendation to the town board. Plus, it's not unusual for a developer or an entrepreneur to, in the beginning, their first meeting, to present a conceptual presentation of what they're trying to create. And the why-
I
and the
agree.
why behind
I
it.
agree. We want to be there. That's all I asked
So
on
you're
that
going to
particular
have,
thing.
like Darius said, you're going to have several,
I
a
understand.
year and a half of research of the secret process.
So
Maybe
again,
more.
what I said, I still stand by. There was a meeting, a full presentation. It wasn't published, right, wrong, or indifferent, not
You
assigning
can't go
blame.
backwards now, but that's the problem. It happened. It's probably not going to happen again without proper publication, but they don't monitor the planning board's agenda every day. They came, wanted to present, they let them present.
Okay.
No decision was made. They'll have to go through the secret process. There'll be dozens of public hearings where you can talk and see the presentation and give your thoughts to the planning board.
Unlike you all, which I appreciate, you have this public speaking or business from the floor. The planning board does not. I assure you, you saw the CCs. I did send them my letter and comments. But I am having a disconnect. I'm not getting into an argument with your town attorney of having an application presented without having the town code change. My understanding, town code changes should come back to you, which was about to happen in that planning board meeting, and then the public hearing happens with the town board to make the change. So
That's,
I don't understand, again, I don't understand why an application from a developer should be presented when it's predicated on the fact of a nonprofit status, unless there's a full part of the scoping document that says, hey, let's talk about this town code change. What does it mean to
That's
us?
definitely going to be discussed.
Yeah,
Has
but-
to.
But you're also under the impression that it's one meeting and that the board
No, I'm
makes a
not.
decision. It's a year and a half.
No, I'm not under the
secret
impression.
process.
So I
they're
offered
both-
I offered two suggestions. One was the way a town code changes happen now, I believe it was about to happen, right? Comes back here and then there's a public hearing and the town code change is made. Or combine it with the CEQA process, if that's correct, you know? But again, I'm having a little bit of a disconnect on having a project presented to me that totally assumes it's for profit. I don't know what that means in his plans. Why would we do that? So that's going to be a big subject in the scoping document. If it's not, we'll give that feedback back to the planning board and hope that that happens.
Yep.
Because there's been a lot of feedback that's been given to that planning board that has not happened. I have a lot of experience with that on the 715 property, a lot. So I'm
If you
forgetting-
if you write something in, it'll be part of the record. They should address it, and this issue will definitely be brought up to the chair and to the
I
planner. So
appreciate
so they're
that.
aware of it.
I
I'll let
appreciate you
them know.
doing that, because really, a lot was done in the 715 secret process that was not responded to.
Well, they
Okay?
still haven't finished the FEIS, actually. I just got a copy of it from Pat Cleary that we
Okay.
took it over, and we're going to revise it. He has already. I got to review it. So that's not done yet.
Okay, I'm just saying.
They
my
may
exper-
respond. You may see-
Over 6 years,
You may like
lots
the
of great
responses.
feedback, and substantive. I mean, it wasn't, because Chair Collins was pretty insistent that nobody repeat anything. McLaughlin was the same way. I don't want to hear it again. I don't want any tree hugger comments. Very restrictive. And so it's quite amazing the feedback that was given, both by individuals that, you know, were not all tree hugger comments, you know, and from experts. So I don't want to get into that here, okay? But my experience has been a little bit disappointing on the planning board completely responding to the feedback that they get. So if you can do that, Darius, that
I'm
would
going
be
to let Pat
fantastic.
know as we speak, so I don't
Okay,
forget.
thanks so much.
Can we specifically ask them to re-present, Darius, do you know?
Yeah,
They will. They'll have to. Yeah, they
at a
will.
planning board meeting,
Yeah, oh,
because,
yeah.
because it wasn't, you know, I mean,
They'll have to-
again, not assigning blame, that's not the
Which
point. It's
project
just,
are we talking about now? We're going back and forth.
I
Yeah, they
know,
will.
well, he's going back and forth, so I apologize. I can't, I have him in the back of my head, so I apologize, but
The
that,
golf course.
You're talking about
the golf course,
Oh.
and
Like I
the
said,
houses.
I believe that was an error,
I know you do.
because it shouldn't have been, it could have been, they could have called it an informational meeting. That's what they should have said. There was no.
No, I
nothing
understand.
there
No
that
need to
was-
apologize. It happened, so we just need to reset
We
the
were all
clock
dis-
and do it again, to Mark's point,
we
and
were
I
all
would appreciate that.
uncomfortable about it, because it was kind of misleading.
You know, you said that last time, and I appreciated that.
Yeah,
I'm not,
sometimes I repeat
not trying to,
myself.
not to trying to point fingers, just, you know, come back to it and do it again. That'd be great. That's all.
Sure they'll be able to.
I'm really not trying to point fingers. I just want to actually see the presentation, you know, it'd be great.
Sure.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Honorable Town Board. Hello again. Ran out of staples, so apologies.
Oh, is that a,
This is the rest of it.
thank you.
So some of this is mine I received digitally.
How you doing, Dennis?
Thank you, Dennis.
It's the 14th, right?
So I just shared, Honorable Town Board, Dennis McCarthy, Hawthorne. I shared this digitally and I'm sharing it in person. This is information I shared after the last Town Board meeting and Planning Board meeting in regards to, it's actually working? 10-4, hello? Okay. Regarding, you know, the property development in question here at Hawthorne Cedar Knolls, 226-228 Linda Avenue. And, you know, at the last meeting, Town Board meeting, I asked the Town Board to become lead agency. And, you know, I didn't do that for nothing. I did it because you guys, along with the town, many people from the planning board, the zoning board, many residents, worked on a comprehensive plan between 2018 and 2022. It was an enormous effort, and it was something that was long overdue. It was something I was a big advocate for, and I'm glad it was done. And so, not taking lead agency, my request is that you implement the code revisions and recommendations that were put into the comprehensive plan. And one of them specifically has to do with this parcel. This parcel is recognized as an institution parcel. I think there's 14 in the comprehensive plan. This is the third largest institutional parcel. There's two before it, which is Pace University and Westchester Community Center. So this is the largest parcel that's coming before this town board to become redeveloped. And it's quantified as an institution parcel. And in 7, the information I presented with you, and I actually gave copies from the comprehensive plan, it specifically outlines, you know, the issues with institution parcels. It says that we must ensure that any reuse, redevelopment of the institutional uses located in the town is accomplished in a manner that's consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood and the goals of Envision Mount Pleasant, the master plan. Most of the institutional uses are governed by single-family residential zoning. It is recognized that reuse or redevelopment pursuant to this underlying zoning may not fulfill the goals of Envision Mount Pleasant, again, the master plan. So selective, careful, planned, prudent zoning modifications may be warranted in certain circumstances. Then goes on about infrastructure. Ensure that land use boards require developers to adequately evaluate the suitability of sanitary sewer infrastructure to which this project is tied into. We've already established at the last meeting we have significant infrastructure problems in the sewer systems that even I wasn't aware of when I was elected to this town board or when I served in the planning board. It's amazing, and it's not your fault. It's things that happen over time. Reduce and eliminate inflow and infrastructure conditions that overtax the sanitary sewer system. Consider adopting zoning provisions that require infiltration and inflow and infiltration mitigation reduction for all new developments contributing to effluent to the municipal sanitary system. Goes on to say, consider the creation of new overlay zoning covering the institutional uses that permits the continued operation of the existing institutional use. So alternative residential uses would be senior housing, assisted living facilities, or other institution type properties. That's not even being presented to the planning board with this applicant, and they're required to do that. But my point is that the planning board is very restricting what they could do because unfortunately these developers coming in here and they're saying, oh, we can do this as of right. That's all I hear, as of right. So instead of calling us the town of Mount Pleasant, we call ourselves the developers of Mount Pleasant because they're coming in and doing whatever the hell they want. And they're going by, you know, codes that were established in the 1970s and before. So I appeal to this town board to institute a moratorium, to implement these code revisions that you worked on, that the town worked on. It's insane not to address these issues because, you know, the things that they're going to do with the tree removal, the sanitary overflow, everything. The fire department can't even get in there with the access roads they're looking at. There's so much that's challenging to this project that if we or the town board was able to institute the updates to the zoning code, it would reconcile a lot of it because they wouldn't be able to utilize the steep slopes. They wouldn't be able to utilize the watershed. And they are. They're using that as buildable land on the conventional plat. And they're coming back and saying, oh, we're going to do a cluster convention based upon that acreage. It's a load of bull hooey. And our comprehensive plan, our planning board can follow that. But again, they're afraid that they're going to be sued. And there's 1 or 2 or 3 people that speak up in the planning board. So please look at this and think about updating the zoning code to preserve the town of Mount Pleasant and the residents who live here. I know I was very dedicated in my service. I know you're dedicating your service, and I appeal you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, and unfortunately, I also requested tree preservation information and steep slope information. Darius had mentioned that he was doing steep slope updates with our planning council, with planning consultant, as well as with our town engineer. So I'm giving
They're
those to
still
you as
not
well.
ready yet. We're still
Well,
not-
the point is that the public has a right to know what's being considered, especially when it's almost 4 years after the comprehensive plan. You mentioned something at a public meeting, it should be shared with the public,
Pat
or what
and I
you're
are working on
considering.
it. Pat and I are working on it.
All right,
And
that's
then once
great.
it's ready to present to the board, it'll be public.
Okay.
Everything that you had talked about is a process which has to be addressed. It's not like skipped over.
Well, it's, like I said, year 2022, there's a lot to be done, and these developers are doing what they want.
Dennis, we had a proposal for 1,500 units on that property. We told them to get lost.
That would be out of right, out of zoning code.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
we
but
don't,
it wouldn't be applicable.
is that different?
No, this is something new now. Oh, yeah, oil stuff, I guess that got.
Dominic Vita Hawthorne. I just want to second a lot of what was said tonight by Mr. McCarthy about the board considering a moratorium. I have written into the board, written into the planning board. I would like to ask that the town board consider a liaison, maybe even someone on a voluntary basis, who can get back to residents on a follow-up or as a follow-up. What we heard from Ms. Gallaudet tonight, what we heard from Mr. McCarthy, are that things are coming into the town board, but we're not getting the feedback back. I have a running list of items. I know there's stuff I've discussed in the past. There's stuff I've sent in. There is stuff that's going to be ignored. I understand that. But I do think there are things that if the town board's interested in working on them, the residents should know. One of those things being a moratorium. I'd like to second what Mr. McCarthy said about a moratorium on large developments. We have a tremendous amount going on in this town. I was going to wait until after the planning board meeting to come back and talk about this, but I think we should consider cumulative impacts of all of the development that's happening, the large development. Blythedale, WMC, the expansion of Regeneron. We have Toll Brothers going in just a stone's throw from this new development. We need to consider that all of these things are going to cause impacts that are absorbed by the taxpayers whose taxes keep going up. This is not a forum for a budget discussion, I understand that, but some consideration needs to be made for future planning and how this is going to impact us fiscally going into the future with everything that's going on, everything that's been approved, everything that has yet to be approved. And there have been pitches for a couple of other things, including the golf course that we heard about, the apartment houses. Whether or not those things come to fruition, there needs to be some thought given to how is this going to affect the town of Mount Pleasant and its stakeholders, the taxpayers, yourselves included. How are we going to be able to bear that burden, and is it a burden, and is there any benefit? We've heard for a long time there's benefit. We haven't really seen it. So we need to see those numbers. We need to get some feedback. So my two requests tonight are a liaison from the board to get back to residents on their requests so that there's a running list and people know that they're being heard and listened to and responded to. We don't have to keep coming back to business from the floor and reiterating things. And the second thing is a moratorium on large developments, larger than 10 acres, 5 acres, whatever makes sense. There is a comprehensive plan in place. You can use that moratorium to change the code, which is within your right to do, and you've done it before. You could do it again. And you have a comprehensive plan already calling out this one property where you can do that. Not just for this one property, but for the whole town, to preserve what we have. If you consider all of the forest we've lost, all the forest we're going to lose from all of these different developments, it's very concerning. In addition to that, all the traffic, the school children impact, the flooding west of Cedar Knolls should be very concerning. Yes, we're going to bog down the planning board with all of these points, but the town board has a role here too. It's a very pertinent role, and it's one where you have the police power, the legislative power to make changes to the zoning code. Just because it's R40 now doesn't mean it has to stay that way. The town has changed other, sorry, Lenny. The town has changed other codes in the past. They've changed zoning in the past to accommodate certain things and to make certain changes. They could do it here too. Okay, a moratorium will give you guys room to be able to do that, ladies and gentlemen, room to be able to do that. So I would like to ask you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Bevan Murphy, 483 Chappaqua Road. Speaking of destroying forests, the fire department has been up our road twice in the last 2 weeks because the mulch company seems to be catching fire, and that's a little concerning. We own 20 acres of forest, and being dismissed regarding a fire is just really disappointing. I expect more from the town.
How do you mean dismissed? I don't follow.
Well, the emails that I read said, don't worry about it, there's dirt. I don't know if you've ever seen wind hit a fire, but it's prone to jumping, sparks and such. We're just coming out of dry season where our forest touches Amodio's. It's that 20 acres of forest is my home, okay? And if it catches on fire, all that forest land is going to be gone. And I'm getting no concern from you. I'm getting, well, there's dirt, so it should be fine.
Oh, who said that?
Are you not on the emails?
Yeah, somebody said to you it's not a concern. We've been up there constantly dealing with the situation. We're not just ignoring it. We've had people up there working these piles of mulch because there's a spontaneous combustion if it gets very hot inside.
Right.
It's not open flame, it's a smoldering.
Nothing was done to mitigate that. You knew that the mulch was sitting there, correct, as a town?
And we've
And
had-
nothing was done to mitigate that.
We
Until
have-
there was
Highway
a
Department's been up there
concern.
working on it, yes.
The highway department is up there working on it. It was the highway department that was so dismissive in their emails about it. In fact, a year ago, in June, when I first addressed the town with concerns about this company and them encroaching on our property and the effects that they're having on the environment, I was completely dismissed by you and by Richard, personally, in those same emails.
I
And
dismissed you?
yes, sir.
What did I say?
I don't have them on me, but if you'd like to go back and reread, I'm happy to forward them
I
to you.
don't believe I've ever been dismissive to you.
I'm happy to forward you some emails.
Please do.
I just want to know what's being done.
We've been working on it since we had the original problem. We have an issue with the contractor that's been up there. We're working on that.
When you say you're working on it, what's being done?
Trying to come up with an agreement to clear the property.
Okay, and to mitigate fires? It's been
Obviously,
2
that's-
weeks. There's
to
been
clear
a
the-
fire every
clearing-
week.
Clearing the property means eliminating all the materials on the property. That's the process. It's not, doesn't happen like this. It's been going on for a while. There's things that we were not aware of that happened there.
But why were you not aware of it?
That's a good question. But we are aware
I
of
take it
it
there's
now.
no
We're
answer.
working on it.
So there's no answer for why you didn't know what was going on?
No, I don't have an answer for that. We're trying to figure that out.
Great, thank you. I'm really looking forward to seeing this rectified, and please
are
test
we.
the groundwater as we've requested as well, not just the soil. Thank you.
Good evening, Supervisor Fulgenzi and members of the board. Thank you for having me come and speak in an open forum. I appreciate that. My name is Deborah Gargiulo. I live on the corner of Chappaqua Road and Claybird Lane, and as I mentioned before, I've been a resident for over 20 years there. I spoke at the town meeting last week, actually March 24th, about the activity on Claybird Lane and the mulching site, and I'm here again because many of those same issues of transparency, safety, accountability, and enforcement remain unresolved. I pride myself on being a reasonable person, and I believe in acting and following through, and I have made every effort to handle this constructively. I have submitted formal complaints, FOILs requests, documented activity, and followed proper channels. But what happened this morning changes everything. Now, this is beyond delays and incomplete answers. We're dealing with a failure of enforcement and a breakdown in control of an active site and known safety and environmental risks. And this did not start recently. As of June of last year, concerns were raised to the town about potential oil in the waterway associated with the site. In August and again in March, I submitted formal complaints and FOILs regarding operations at Claybird Lane. The FOIL request was responded to in March, 7 months later. I'm sure we don't want to be here in another 7 months talking about this. And only after I put in a formal demand, and even then the response was incomplete. I received a blank RFP, no contract, and an expired 2014 permit for a completely different facility. This is not a single delay, it's a pattern of inaction. Now it's a year later and we're still asking the same questions. Was the site permitted? What are the contracts and insurance certificates for the contractor? What outside materials entered the site? Where did they come from? Why has this been allowed to continue without any clear oversight? We have been told that materials would be removed from the site in a controlled manner. However, there has been no formal written plan, no timeline, no communication outlining how this would be conducted in compliance with OSHA safety requirements or DEC environmental standards. Then this morning, despite a cease and desist that's been in effect since March 23rd, multiple commercial trucks entered the site, operated equipment, loaded material, and removed it without any apparent intervention. Emergency vehicles were present at the same time. So I'm asking very directly, if a cease and desist was in place, how did this happen? What actions are taken in real time to stop this? And at the same time, material is now being removed from the site before environmental testing results are available to the community. That raises concerns about the integrity of this testing, the ability to accurately assess environmental impact, and whether residents are being fully informed about potential risks. This site handling is highly combustible material, as you mentioned, and in close proximity to homes and wooded areas. We have already had multiple fires, and as Bevan mentioned just days ago, we've seen repeated heavy truck traffic on residential road not designed for this, causing damages, outages, and ongoing safety concerns. The residents have observed runoff, sediment movement, and conditions that raise concern about potential contamination and environmental impacts. Many homes rely on private wells. Yet residents still do not have a complete information about what is on this site and how it got there and how it's being managed. We have been told that this operation provides mulch and topsoil to the community. So I'm asking, has any of these materials been distributed to residents without verified testing? And if so, what assurances can be provided of its safety? At this point, it's not just about transparency. It is about accountability and potential liability. So I'm asking the town to clearly and on record, there is a sign that says no dumping, $1,000 fine. Is this enforced? If a cease and desist is in effect, how are trucks allowed to enter and operate and remove materials from the site? What enforcement actions were taken today? Given the presence of emergency vehicles or any violations issued, summonses given, arrests made? If not, why not? Under what authority is material being removed before environmental testing results are available? What permits, if any, authorize this activity? What manifests are being reviewed to verify the origin, the handling, and the removal of materials for the site? What is the town's formal written plan for the removal of material, including compliance with OSHA and DEC standards? What steps are being taken to secure the site from further unauthorized activity? How will the town ensure that environmental testing remains valid, given that materials have been disturbed or removed? What protections are in place for the residents who rely on these wells? What costs have been incurred, including emergency response and infrastructure damage, and how will those be recovered versus passed to the taxpayer? Residents are the ones documenting and reporting and following up. This is enforcement. This is not our role. We pay taxes to the town to enforce and protect this community. Right now, based on what we have witnessed, there is serious question as to whether that it was happening. This is not a single incident. This is a pattern of delayed response, lack of transparency, and failure to enforce. Residents are not asking for special treatment. We're asking for transparency, enforcement, and safety. So I think it's a fair question to ask all of you. If what's happening here does not meet the town's own standards that you stated for safety, environmental protection, and quality of life, then what does? Thank you.
I appreciate your input and all of your help in allowing us to fully understand what's going on there. And I ask if you have any emails from June, please forward them to the board, because I was not aware of any complaints from the public in June. Please. Thank you.
And if you need any more photographic evidence or videos, I'm happy to provide it to you.
Those are pretty serious transgressions. If they're already removing soil, and you just authorize a soil test, I guess, in the first motion of the evening? It is disturbing, but I'm kind of surprised you guys have.
Do you want to come up and speak again?
I'm sorry.
You have to correct it.
Can't hear.
And that's a pretty disturbing list of.
It's not being
Issues.
ignored, I'll tell you that.
Well, can you share what's being done? Because, I mean, if that soil is being removed this morning, but you,
They didn't remove soil. They were removing mulch that they had processed on the site. The soil has not been touched. It was tested yesterday. It has not been moved. It was mulch that they took off today.
well, I mean,
Unbeknownst to any of
I
us.
just think
And
it'd be nice if you got some
It's
answers.
also a licensed facility, it's not like
I thought there were
illegal.
a cease and desist, isn't that what it said?
The amount of material is over and above the amount that should be there. That's what we're working on.
Okay.
But our plan is to clean the site up and eliminate the use of this site for that purpose with an outside contractor. We don't know
For what,
we're gonna do.
the mulch?
Everything.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people get that mulch. Is there anything wrong with the
is
mulch?
coming
That's
from-
compost from a different facility.
I don't get the mulch,
Town
but,
compost comes from a different facility, so you could
so
take,
it's safe?
Comes from our
well,
leaf site.
I can't answer that, but I'm hoping.
Can you add the mulch to the soil test? Just throw in a
It's
bargain test?
It's been examined by DEC, I think it is, so it's not like. That's
DEC?
a licensed facility also that has to go through testing and approvals of DEC.
So that's been done or being done?
It's a constant thing.
Okay.
It has to meet certain standards to have a license.
And that's on the record, like, we could foil that and look at it? That the testings, I mean, I believe that it's happening, but the results of the test?
I could check with our highway
Yeah,
department.
once we get them.
The
They're
soil
not ready till
tests?
next week.
Well, the soil tests, I'm sure you can do, and hopefully you'll maybe take up the suggestion of getting back to people who made the suggestion, if there's a way to do that. I understand you have an agenda and all that, but that'd be great, you know. All right, I didn't mean to derail it, I just think,
You're right.
you guys have a lot of, answers that it'd be great if you could share some of that, because that's a
very
long,
serious.
long list of,
There's been a severe breakdown at many points, and promise you, we're looking at this carefully.
okay, so people will be safe in the meantime?
They have not been on site for what? Since the cease and desist until today, which we learned
March
of at,
23rd.
what?
March
6 o'clock this
23rd?
morning, March 23rd. They have not been on site. They showed up today, and we found out when everybody else, we did not know they were going there.
Yeah,
Um,
very trustworthy. Okay,
Well, that's not true. I did not know they were going there. I don't know if you have proof that somebody else on the town knew they were going there, but I did not know they were going there this morning.
None of us knew
None
they
of
were
us,
going there.
none of us sitting up here. When I say we, I mean us sitting up
I would
here.
never accuse you of saying something that's untrue. What I'm saying is that it is untrue that they have not been up there.
Oh. they-
100% they have been up there. They have removed oil drums that were full of fuel. I have photos of the drums being on site, and I drove up there today because I wanted to see about the fire and if it had crossed onto my property.
Right, and they were gone?
Absolutely. They've been moving mountains of soil.
That's the highway. Highway is.
Highway's been in there, so the mountain of mulch that's there was too high and is beyond the acceptable standards. That's what was smoldering. Our highway department went in and separated everything into smaller piles to prevent it from catching fire. So is it possible you saw our highway department there doing that? They've been there since last week,
I don't know who moved the soil.
so it was,
Yes,
that was
highway.
us.
I also don't know who removed the oil drums that were leaching into the ground. I have photos of it.
Can you share those also,
I would love to.
please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned that the DEC was on the site. When were they?
Yesterday.
And
No. the
No,
inspector.
DEC was there in December. We've been in contact with DEC since December, but more detailed since Friday. And they said they are out until Monday, the guy Ian, I believe his name was, so he's going to get back to us. There's been communication between the town engineer and the DEC, and we're
so
working with
I'd
them.
like to know why the DEC hasn't done anything after multiple calls, multiple complaints. I am not ashamed to say that I reported it to the DEC. I am not ashamed to say that all of this went to the DEC, the EPA, the Department of Health. I'm going on record. Okay? When are they at the site? Why aren't they at the site? Material should not be moved. They should not be moved without any
We
safety
have
protocols.
informed them multiple occasions in writing to not remove anything from the site, and they came and did it themselves today. And it was a big issue. The police were there, the highway department was there, town board members were there, and it was a confrontation, and they basically threw their hands at us and said, get out of our way.
Well,
They
Darius-
did. There's going to be issues related to enforcement. There's been a new cease and desist order issued today and no trespass order. And if they violate it again, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem with the other issues. And believe me, there was hours and hours and hours of discussions today about this.
Okay.
No one was arrested. Well, not my decision. Could they be? Anyone could be. If they trespass on private property, they could be arrested. The police could arrest them. DEC could, if they're operating illegally. We don't know. That's why we tested. What happened was we were out there, I think it was 2 weeks ago. The whole town board was out there. We saw you guys. We went and
yes.
looked at the site.
Thank you.
And we have a plan. We think we have a plan. We need a third party to help us. We need them to get their stuff out there after it's determined to be clean. Hopefully they do that.
Right.
And hopefully it comes back clean, and we're all making sure that the fires do not, the smoldering does not continue. And that's why they're moving the piles, because big piles smolder more than little piles. So that's why they're moving the little piles to the little piles. So there isn't smoldering. The other soil that came in, the town board did not know about that soil coming in. When they learned about it, we've been trying to work with them over the last few months. Back, I think it was September, October timeframe. And we are trying to make sure it's clean before it gets removed. The DEC has said if anything's removed, they need manifests. We have manifests of that soil that indicates that it's clean, but we're double, triple, quadruple checking that it's clean. We hired an independent environmental consultant to analyze it and make sure it's clean.
Are they ELAP certified?
They were found by a combination of our geoscientists.
Are they
I don't know their
doing it in
exact
conjunction with DEC?
I don't know. I
articles?
found that firm just
Been in
randomly
business.
searching out of town areas out of Westchester to get somebody that was sort of
Are they doing it
fully
in
independent.
compliance with like DEC 360
Yeah, they
and
are- they are-
361?
they
Yeah,
are-
it's part 360 and part
360 and
375
375.
analysis. yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, just for Darius, for yourself, as you're doing whatever you need to do, okay? 3 Amodios trucks went up there this morning, but 5 came down. So, which means that they were up there already. I can certainly review when they went up there, but 3 smaller trucks went up.
You're
and
saying as
3
if they were preparing.
Yeah, 3 smaller trucks came down, and then 2 tractor trailers came down full of material. Yeah,
I was up
So.
there right after that.
okay.
This was at 8 in the morning this morning, I know.
It started over a period of, my photographs have timestamps.
So we've been talking about it. The plan is, if it's clean, work with them to get rid of the material. And we talked to you about this a few weeks ago. We're hoping that it's going to take time to get rid of some of the material. Doesn't happen like that.
Right.
But as you
But-
said, sooner the better. But we want to make sure it's clean. That's what this board is making sure. Because they don't want than putting that soil elsewhere where it shouldn't be.
Right. The other residents on Chappaqua Road need to understand what the plan is, what exactly the plan is for removal.
It's a plan in progress. The testing is step one. Step two is to work with DEC to make sure how they want it removed, which we've been in contact with them. We're waiting back to hear exactly how they want it done with manifests, et cetera. And then we have the third party, the Ammonios, to hope that they remove their stuff that they brought in. If they don't, the town board will have to pivot to figure out how to remove it, and there may be litigation revolved around it. But the plan is in the next 6 months at the latest to get all that stuff out of there and work with DEC to do that.
Right.
Hopefully, the contractor will work with us.
Okay, well, I will help you where I can, but I am holding everyone responsible for this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the operation, just so everyone knows, it's been going on for what, 20-something years up there. Let me just finish. The soil that was brought in improperly without the knowledge of the town board was recent. And that's the major issue. The operation was a little larger than it should have been, but as soon as they brought that soil in, that's when they brought in the tractor trailers, I believe.
If no one's been monitoring, how do you know?
We do know, the highway department's been out there. I believe.
We don't know. I'll tell you, we don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know.
Well, you can't sit there 24/7, obviously, but there are.
This has been going on for a long time.
We don't know when the soil came, but we have manifests from, I believe it's September. There may be earlier ones, so we're doing the due diligence
The
to find
ones
it.
they sent are all from September.
Tractor trailers have been back and forth over at least the last 2 years. And I thank you. I didn't know I had a voice. Now I have a voice, and I'm very happy to. And thank you for listening to me, but this has to stop. It's been ongoing.
And we're going to remove all the soil, all the mulch, everything, and it's gonna stop, is the plan. That's the ultimate goal in the next few months, but it can't snap your fingers and do it, because you can't take soil and just remove it. DEC wants to make sure that it's done properly, and we want to make sure it's done properly, and that's why the testing is being done. That, for soil that we didn't bring in.
We're not rushing it. We want transparency, and we want to know what the plan is. So
That's the plan.
do what you need to do, and please let the residents know.
The plan is to test. Once it's tested, work with DEC and hopefully the contractor to get rid of the material. Well, we don't work, we don't know what they're gonna do.
Doesn't sound very trustworthy.
Well,
Either way, the material will be removed,
Yeah.
whether it's by the contractor or if
they
it has
brought
to
it
be
in,
by
they should
us.
take it out.
Right.
They're off hours, they're disobeying cease and desist. Why
Well-
doesn't somebody arrest them?
Well,
That was so much
It's not that simple.
Are the taxpayers going to pay for removal if Ammonios won't do it? That doesn't feel right.
We don't want them on the site right now until we have the completion of the testing, which we should have next week.
that's what they said.
Then we have a plan from there, okay, how do we get rid of it? Work with the DEC, what are the regulations or requirements from them on getting rid of all the material? They've been there, I don't know, 17 years maybe, processing materials, not just their materials, our materials also. Major storms, all the trees that went up there, over 1,000 trees were processed by them. Didn't cost the town a dime. But that's no longer an issue. They've made money there, good amount of money. Now, the commercial processing there will no longer take place. It's over. But the town still has a site there, which it's been there for 100 years. It's going to stay. So we will still be processing, because we have to have a place to process the materials.
But it has cost the taxpayers money.
What's that?
It has cost the taxpayers money. Every single time you're sending emergency vehicles up there, and people from the town, where you have to pay overtime, and the amount of water that needs to be trucked to the site, because we are on wells, and there is no water there, and there's no water tower, and there's no safety procedures, and there's no contract. So you are costing the taxpayers money.
I talked about processing materials. Did not cost the town, we were spending $50,000 to $75,000 a week processing materials, having somebody there prior to this contractor. That's costing the taxpayer money. We are not going to be paying anybody any further. This is done. Yeah, we have to have police. We have to have fire protection. That's what happens every day in our town. We have to pay for that.
Next.
Hi, my name is Susan Odefero.
I am here for the residents of the town of Mount Pleasant and the seniors of Mount Pleasant. The defensive driving class that was held for the seniors, they are extremely upset. New York State license course has been successful in promoting driver safety in all age groups. The alternative method of taking this course would be an online program, which the seniors especially have difficulty with. Classroom instruction has been proven to be the most effective teaching method. The seniors, many of them can't go online. They don't have computers. They depended on the defensive driving class being given every year so that they could come and take the class for 2 nights. The online class is 6 hours. You don't have to sit there for 6 hours, but you've got 6 hours that you've got to be on the computer, and the seniors can't do that. And a lot of the residents also, we have petitions going out for the residents and the seniors to put this program back in, to have the defensive driving class put back in.
Did that happen this year, that it's no longer in?
January.
PERMA had changed the process. They had changed everything to an online system.
Yeah, but everybody can't do online.
I understand that.
You know,
That's
you've
what
got
we're hearing.
80, 90-year-olds that are still driving, but can't do the computer.
It's understood.
And it's not fair to them.
We have discussed it, possibly working with the Recreation Department to have a presentation where you could have people come in, sit down. It'll be a combination of being, on a visual, like a screen, and then talking.
You need an instructor.
Yes.
And we have some residents came out tonight to support that.
Well, we do support that, and we're not eliminating it. We went through a process with PERMA where certain things were eliminated. Now we're trying to implement something else, so we're working with Recreation on that.
Okay.
We understand the situation. I wouldn't want to have anybody have to sit 6 hours for anything. But
Yeah, and, they want their 10% off their insurance. Right? Right.
I want to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we bring it back? If Firmer told us you want to do it online?
No, it's a matter of setting up somebody to do it. We had talked with Recreation about possibly doing it, so in conjunction with the class having a presentation and somebody speaking. But it wasn't our
Decision.
choice to eliminate it. They want everything online today.
I know, but
It's not for
I mean,
everybody.
I've sat through it. It's not fun, so I don't blame them.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Okay, we'll move on to our town clerk's report. Danielle, thank you for helping us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, April 14th, 2026. Filed and received 2 notices of claims. Iran Hussein, and the second one is James and Margaret Gallardo. And that's it for this evening. Thank you.
Those 2 claims will be referred to our town attorney. Moving on to council reports. Councilwoman Zano. I don't believe you have anything on your list.
I do not.
Moving on to Councilman Bonanno.
Thank you, residents, and good evening. I'm here to read through the controller's memo dated 4/14/26. Look, the entire controller's memo will be available at the controller's office during normal business hours. The important items on the controller's report for 4/14/26 are attorney's fees, $8,635.50. Town hall building, emergency repair for deteriorating pipe in the recreation department, $53,560.09. From the public safety department, the body cameras worn by our police department, it's a 5-year contract, and this is a partial payment, $141,369.82. Safety inspection, We had to inspect the elevators for $4,950. From the highway and snow removal, we had a lot of emergency repair removal equipment needed to be fixed, $33,145.03. And finally, there's a sewer connection with the Village of Pleasantville, $34,350. The total controller's memo dated 4/14/26, $320,511.17. So now we are on to budget transfers.
Joe, you make a motion?
Yeah,
Oh.
motion for approval, Joe.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Joe,
I'll
Second.
second that, please.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, on to budget transfers. There is a budget transfer of $14,473.75. This transfer is to cover the costs related to snow removal during the various storms in 2026. The other budget amendments we have are increases to the budget amendments, increases to the budget. We did get $68,018 we received as part of a grant for our record management program. And we did also receive $24,594.20 as in some insurance recovery monies. So motion to approve.
Motion by Joe,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Councilman Saraceno.
Thank you. I have one item tonight from the Town Clerk's Office. This is Resolution 152-26, authorization to waive the statutory 30-day waiting period for on-premise liquor license for Amore Duo LLC, doing business as Guadalajara Restaurant, 2 Union Street, Briarcliff Manor. Upon notifying the town of its intent to make an application for the restaurant license to sell beer, wine, cider, and liquor on premise, Amore Duo LLC requests a waiver of the statutory 30-day waiting period to make such an application. I believe that's Guadalajara that's under new management. With that, I move for approval.
Motion by Mark.
I second it.
Joe?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Saliano.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My reports from the police department. We have one item for you for this evening. It's from Corey Antonecchia. He's our traffic and safety manager, and it's authorization to hire traffic safety seasonal maintenance laborers. Authorization is requested to hire up to 3 seasonal maintenance laborers as per the following pay scale. If you're a new hire, you must be 18 years old, have a valid driver's license, and it'll be paid $20 per hour. A returning employee will earn $20.50 per hour, and all 3 positions will terminate after 4 months of employment. It's just seasonal. I ask the board for a motion of approval for these traffic safety seasonal maintenance laborers, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. You have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Town Attorney, I don't think we have anything.
Nothing today.
I just have a couple of reminders for Town Board. April 18th is cleanup day in town. We meet at Carroll Park. I think it's 8:30?
Yeah, it's 8:30.
8:30. The Lions Club supplies donuts and coffee and bottled water. April 25th is Coffee with Carl. Anybody that wants to come in and have a nice conversation with me is welcome to do so. May 2nd, Thornwood Fire Department inspection and a dinner. And 5/16, Sleepy Hollow Fire Department 150th anniversary parade.
What date was that? The parade?
Sleepy Hollow,
Yeah.
5/16.
Carl, can I add something,
Thank you.
please? I think the 18th is the colonial presentation. also.
Oh, yeah, that's the
For the
presentation
250th
at
anniversary.
Hawthorne Reformed
Yes,
Church.
yes. I think it's at 12 noon. For the 250th anniversary, it's essentially a history lesson.
Yeah, I think it's at noon.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Don't ask me how I remember that.
Glad you did. Yeah, that's part of our 250th America's birthday celebration, a number of events that are happening throughout the year. There's a committee that's been established, independent of the town. They raise funds and they are putting different things together, parades and events throughout the year. Our schedule of meetings, our next work session is April 21st, 7 p.m. Our business session is April 28th at 7 p.m. And if there be no further business from the board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Tom.
Other way around.
Yeah, the way around.
Tom and then Joe.
Tom and Joe,
Tom was first, then Joe.
speak up. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.